Today's lesson is about character. It's about creating a character for the stage. So very similar to what you would do in drama or acting, where you go onto stage with lines that you've memorized. There's no difference when it's comedy. I think that's important to note because when you get feedback from a performance, I don't want you to take it too personally. I don't want you to think that that's yourself up there that people like or that they don't like. I don't want you to take it personally. So I don't want someone telling you that maybe they didn't think a joke was funny to somehow reflect back on you and make you feel like you're not funny, because that's not true. So when we create a character for the stage, if someone says they didn't get a joke, it's not a big deal. They just didn't get the joke. Even better, if they really enjoyed it and they laughed a whole lot, I don't want you to take it so personally that you get a big head or that you think you're better than anybody else just because you're funny. So what do I mean by creating a character? It's not much different than drama. It's the clothes that you choose to wear. It's your hairstyle. It's how you present yourself. Are you sitting or are you standing? Are you pacing back and forth? Are you standing still? What is your body language doing? So in comedy, everything always starts with story. You may create a different character for every story you tell. This is why we talked about how the story doesn't really have to be true, because you'll get to the point where you're starting to tell stories that never really happened to you, but you're going to be able to act like they did. That's comedy gold. When you can literally make up a story that you know is going to be funny and you can perform it as if you were the main character in it. So what is funny? Quite honestly, with comedy, it's just the unexpected. Did anybody expect your body, those clothes, that voice to say that word or to tell that joke or to talk about that topic? Comedy isn't just the story you tell. It's how you're portraying that character telling the story. So it can be physical comedy. So it could be how you move your body while you're telling the story. Are you acting it out for someone? Are you using the microphone as a prop? Do you have any other props? Think about it. Are you a juggler? Do you do magic? These are all types of comedy based around a character. So a juggler is a character. A magician is a character. And I need you to be thinking of that as opposed to just as a skill or an extension of yourself. The character is just as important as the story. The reason this is important is just like an actor, you want to be able to tell the story the same way over and over and over again. I'm sure you've noticed this, that when you tell a story, the first time you tell it, it's really funny. The second time you tell it, it's not as funny. The third, the fourth, the fifth time, it loses its appeal with the retelling. We can't let that happen. That story has to be just as funny to you every single time you tell it. That's why it's important to tell it as a character, as an actor on stage. This is the first time that this audience is hearing that story. Or even if it's not, it's still funny because they remember the first time they heard it. But this time, they're seeing something different. They're seeing how you act it out. They're seeing how you throw your voice or you give an impersonation of a different character in the story. So you can still be a version of yourself, but it's a version you can turn on when you're on stage and you can turn off when you come off the stage. One last thing. When we're talking about versions of ourselves, think about your former self and your future self. What do those characters look like? So your former self is pretty easy because you were there. Your current self is easy because you're there right now. But your future self might be something worth exploring. If you were on stage as your future self 2, 3, 4 years into the future, how would you be telling this same story? This same joke? So being a comedian is just another type of character that you can act out. The joke or the story is your script that you memorize and you perform in character every time you tell that joke.